tell you guys a little bit about me. I got into I was in construction most of my life. I come from a blue collar background, mostly all construction and maintenance, building maintenance. And if you guys want to know my 9/11 story, you can just check out Claudio Marty on Facebook, and you'll see a picture in my profile. And just click on it, and you'll see that little bio I've got, and how I saw the buildings turn into dust before my eyes, and so on. And when I woke up, which was just about, I think, 3 years ago now. And well, since those 3 years, I started to study this 9/11 field. Obviously, it's by the time I woke up, it was like 10 years passed by. And I said, well, it's let me go study what they're doing to get the word out. So of course I saw the architects and engineers, because they're out in the forefront in the public arena. Checked out all their videos. I studied the individuals, the so-called leaders, and their backgrounds and their strategy and so on. And then I got into Facebook, and I mean, Facebook is basically how I got introduced to the awakening of 9/11, and so I got into the forums, I got into the groups, the pages, interacting with other people. I might as well call myself a truther. The news media likes to call us, anybody a name. Well, I kind of wear it with pride now. I think being a truther is where it's at. I think that it is just think of the word truth. If we had more truth in this world, there would probably be no war. There would be no hunger. There would be no friggin' chemtrails, and all of this other crap that we've got to deal with. Corporations would not be people, and Monsanto could not bully their way in our system, by consumption, we're like being force fed by these guys. Anyway, but so truth is a big deal for me. My mom was a minister. I learned, my morals and so on from her. And she taught us, that the truth is what you live by, and the truth has always saved me. I was, I had trouble at home. I left early, and I just, me and my truth, basically made sure I was okay. I was always truthful. I never stole from anybody. I never lied to them. If I didn't know something, I just said I didn't know it, and they'd teach me because I was so honest. It's amazing when you are honest and you're looking for mentors, and they're extremely generous to teach you. And so anyway, now going back to let me just, all right, I'll finish regarding the 9/11 thing. I mean, we got into groups. And so what I saw in the groups, I saw a lot of debating, what theories. I saw, a lot of bullying. I saw, I was exposed to the shills and the trolls and disinfo agents and so on. And, I even interacted with them. I've had my arguments. I was banded by in groups. There was one group that I was banded from because they were tolerating the World Trade Center, like an animation or something of each tower having sex with one another, and that peed me off. And so I definitely spoke up. And man, did I get kicked out of that damn that group, which that kind of behavior was tolerated. And my morals, my ethics are just, I lost my cousin, and she worked for Cantor and Fitzgerald. I mean, I had a family member, and to me, it was like they were making fun of her death by depicting, something as, untasteful as that that animation, and but all of it seemed like there was a bunch of people that were just tolerating it, and it was okay, and they were joking about it, and I was like, what is wrong with these people, And but just like the real world, just like the sheeple that everybody calls, that are not awake yet, you have idiots there, and you have idiots in the truth movement. And I learned something when I was 19 years old that I asked my mentor, who was the smartest man I've ever met in my life. Like I tell James, this guy used to read the dictionary on the toilet. Instead of People magazine or Time magazine, he used to read the dictionary. This freaking guy was smart. And I asked him one day, I was 19 years old working with him. He was like a father figure to me. And I asked him, I said, would I be correct to say that most people are a-holes? And he said, yes. It doesn't matter if you're president of a company, if you're a multimillionaire, it doesn't matter, if you're blue collar, it doesn't matter if you're an archbishop, it doesn't matter if you're a professor in a college, you could still be an a-hole. And I was depressed. I was really upset about that. I thought people had common sense and common decency. And I used to sit at a table with those characters. I used to sit and listen to them. I was just a kid. They were, like I mentioned, an archbishop. I mentioned college professors and so on. And I just said, my God, I'm just a kid, but these guys are idiots. And not that I was. Remember, I was a kid, but I was an honest kid, and I was very much in touch with myself, my being, my awareness, and I always wanted to do what was truthful, and it seemed like most people weren't truthful with themselves, and I saw it as a flaw. And anyway, so in the forums, the truthers, you've got them there too. You got a whole bunch of idiots, and I'm sorry, it's true. And remember, I tell the truth, and that's what I saw is the truth. And so now 2 years are going by, from my awakening, and I'm looking for leadership. I'm looking, searching for that, the grassroots movement within the truth movement. I'm not talking about, what architects and engineers, what they're doing. I'm talking about they need people. They're looking for the masses. They're looking for the awakening of the masses. And I said, well, what could I possibly do to help? And anyway, so but I saw no leadership in that regard. And so talking to a very close friend, I said, I think I'm going to have to step up. Now, why would I step up in a position of leadership? Not that I want it to be, believe me, I don't, because leadership requires responsibility, a lot of responsibility, and you're dealing with human beings, you're dealing with their lives. If you're going to lead, it's a responsibility that you lead them properly. You need to be an example of a good leader. And you need to have a plan, and and anybody that goes under your wing, they're your responsibility. They're your you got to treat them like family. You got to look out for them, and you got to speak up for them, and fight for them, whatever it takes. But by doing that, you're creating a leader by example, and now. My training, like I said, I was in construction most of my life. I saw an opportunity with telecommunications, the internet, like what we're currently on right now. Well, I saw the early stages of it before it became mainstream. And it was a company called LCI International. And they were competing with, you name it, Time Warner, AT&T, MCI, Sprint. But it was ground floor, and so I got involved. And it was in sales. I was going to be part of the sales force, and So you're not just going door to door, knocking on doors, or going to a company and say, look, I can give you a better deal on your long distance and your local and your internet and so on. You build an organization, so you build an army to do that, with you. And so in this company, there was something, you had to be trained, just like any other company. You got to be trained. You need the orientation. You need to know the products. You need to know how to sell them, and so on, and continue to educate yourself regarding the latest technology, et cetera, et cetera. Now, regarding building organizations, everybody had, there was a basic training or boot camp. We called it boot camp. And then there was advanced training and so on. And so in boot camp, it was all about leadership, how to become an effective leader. And not only how you become an effective leader, how do you create effective leaders when you start recruiting for your sales organization? So I went to basic training more than anybody. People that I got into the field with at the same time, they were already advanced training and so on. I stayed in basic training or boot camp because it was all about people. I was so into the people because I love people, and I can't help myself. I think it's because of my mom. She's the same way. She used to bring in homeless people, give them a bath, feed them, wash their clothes, give them some money, and they were on their way. We were little teeny kids watching that in embarrassment. And but I guess it rubbed off, and so my buddies that we all started with, they would mock me. They say, "Oh, you're still going to basic training, and and we're doing advanced, and we're learning about cell phones and the latest models, et cetera, et cetera." One day I got peed off at them, and I said, "Look, when I take that first step, I said once I place that my foot forward, it's going to be very solid. There's a difference between thinking and knowing, and I want to know. I don't want orientation. Orientation is very weak." And so I took my first step after like the 100th session of basic training. And in 8 months, I broke two major records. I had the biggest sales organization in the entire company. I had the biggest customer base in the entire company for an individual leader. All those friends that I mentioned that we got we got in at the ground floor. I passed them by. I flew by them. I mean, it was amazing. And all my superiors, the ones that were mentoring me, unfortunately I passed them by too. So then I met the president of the company, big convention in Baltimore, Maryland. They they shook my hand, met the other co-owners and so on. I mean, we're talking about, I don't know, maybe 50,000 people were there at that convention because they flew in from all over the country to be there, including myself. And remember, I was walking down the aisle. People were shaking my hands. They were, taking pictures. And back in New York, I'm in a training session. Someone comes up to me and they said, "Claudio, would you sign this?" And it's a pamphlet for, we all had pamphlets for training, for basic training, for advanced, etc. So on the pamphlet for basic training, they had a picture of me shaking the president's hand from that time that I was in Baltimore. And I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. They put my picture on all their basic training pamphlets, right? And the picture came out pretty cool because sometimes you look really bad. And thank God it was a good one, Anyways, to train other people's organizations. I used to train my competition. They used to come in. They used to ask me, "Claudio, could you train my guys?" I said, "Sure." I said, "I don't care." To me, it's all about the people. To me, helping someone make more money so they can send their kids to college, to me, that is more of a prize than actually the money that I was making. So money was not I'm into Porsches. I used to have a Porsche. I mean, I like money. It's kind of cool when you can help people and make a lot of money helping people make a lot of money. I became one of the big boys now. I started to advocate for the sales force, which were the couple of 100,000 human beings that were, in our sales force. I happened to be one of the 1,000 that was, now a big shot, right? So I'm dealing with my peers. I'm talking to them, and I'm like, we got to make it better for the sales force. We got to make it easier for them to advance. We got to make it, maybe some more financial incentives so they can make more money. Now, I'm looking at the next position now, while I'm doing this. The next position is $100,000 a year and up. I mean, it was called an RVP position, regional vice president. These guys were like 100,000 and millionaires. I was looking at that sucker, and I knew I was going to do it. I mean, I'm a doer. I don't try nothing. Anyway, so once I got a plan, it gets done. Anyway, but they said something about attrition. Attrition. I didn't even know what that was. I had to look it up when I got home, and they said, yeah, it's attrition. People come in and people go out, and I said, so you basically were treating the sales force like cattle. And they said, more or less, yeah, that's what we're doing. It's all about us making money, We're using, they didn't say using people, but that was definitely, the impression that I got. We're going to use human beings' lives. We're going to use their time. We're going to use their energy, and we're going to profit from it, even if they fail. Well, I did look up attrition, and I didn't like it, when I got home. And I didn't. Now I'm. Remember, I said about the brochure that my picture was on it. I was the top trainer in that company. I wasn't trying to be. I was just good at it because I went to basic training. I learned how to be a leader. I learned how to create leaders, and I took that very seriously. But now, after I just that attrition moment, when I looked it up. I didn't show up anymore at the company. I didn't go to the trainings. I was, people would call me. I said, look, have this guy fill for me. I'm not feeling very well. I kept making excuses, and it was like, day after day, week after week, and then I wound up telling my key guys, my front line. I says, look, I'm out. And they would say, Claudio, but you're a freaking star, man. You're making money. You're gonna be a freaking millionaire. What are you kidding me? It's like you're I motivated these guys. I made them feel alive, that they're doing something important, that they're gonna, they're gonna afford the damn mortgage, that they're gonna get money as an issue out of the way. You know what it is going to the grocery store and you don't have to look at the prices. You just grab the stuff you need, I mean, that's what, anyway, so that's what I mean by, getting money as an issue out of the way. Anyway, so, and I kept making excuses, and then I stopped, answering my phone. I stopped, I ignored, people ringing my bell, at the front of the house. And, but it got to the point where I had to disconnect my phone. I had to get a new number because I was being bombarded. People calling me from California, people calling me from, you name it, all over the United States, including my peers, right? And so then I told my key guys, it took me about a month because I made up my mind completely. I said, that's it, I got to get out. And I told my front line, I says, look, man, it's all about the money with those guys. They don't give a crap about you. They give a crap about me because I'm one of those individuals that, can kick butt. Everybody, it's like there's a book, and I recommend everybody should read it. It's called the Peter Principle. It's about reaching your level of incompetence. Most people reach their level of incompetence. A lot of people reach it at 20, 30, 40. Some people could be great vice presidents, but they're terrible presidents. That's reaching your level of incompetence. Now, so me being aware of that, I always made sure I never reached my level of incompetence. So, and most people just are not aware of that, and they tend to reach it. And so, anyway, so I got out, and about a year later, the company fell apart. It just went down. Once that word got out, Claudio got out. Claudio got out for this particular reason. This company is nothing about making money, and using us and playing with our dreams, saying you're going to make a lot of money and you're going to be rich, and they're BSing us. Well, that company fell apart. And now, is it coincidence? Let's say, I'm not going to say I was the cause of it, but boy, was it a coincidence. And because with no sales force, there is no company. You could have all the cell phones you could have warehouses of cell phones, and you're not going to sell crap unless you have a sales force. So since that was my thing, the sales force, I walked away once they found out why. The coincidence, you can connect the dots. Anyway, so now I've got all this experience, right? I got recruited. Companies, you heard about me. They would call me. They'd fly me down to California. I went to Las Vegas for another one. I went to, where the hell did I go? A couple other places in the United States. I settled on this one company. They were selling products, natural stuff, and it wasn't telecommunications, which I love, because there are no products involved, really. I mean, cell phones, beepers, etc. But, it was kind of cool, the telecommunications superhighway. I thought that was the coolest thing I ever heard. I said, whatever it is, I want it, Anyway, but this is a product-based company, but it was basically the same structure. You recruit your frontline leaders, and you train them, and they basically do that, and you have exponential growth, okay? And so I made a lot of money. Again, it was a company, I think it was called GMI, based out in Los Angeles. Actually, Beverly Hills, out of all freaking places, right? They invited me there. It was so cool. Anyway, and made a lot of money. I mean, I'm talking about, I was racking it up, a few $1,000s, a week. And anyway, so, the company folded. The company folded because of bad management. I mean, they were making a lot of money, but sometimes it's sort of like what we're doing here. Like we just started something like, I'm hooking up with James and TJ and Steve and another guy, the other James, and, we're forming this team. And I say it, and I've been talking to James. I said, James, our foundation needs to be solid, because if it's not solid, whatever we build upon it will fall apart. And it's 100% true. It is not my opinion. My opinion doesn't mean crap. I go by facts. I go what works. I tend to look for universal rules, and I go with that. It's like I look for balance. It's sort of like the planet Earth. Everything is about balance. You're not too close to the sun. You're not too far away. You're right there. It's perfect. The moon is not too close. It's not too far. It's right there. It's friggin' perfect. So it's a universal. Universal laws is what I attempt to stick by, and which more or less is the truth of what we know, about life. It's anyway. So I started to all right. Now going back to the truth movement, I started to work out a plan. I started to study the flaws of the truth movement. I started to study the flaws of not only within the Facebook community, and but I saw some flaws and in the other organizations, which I don't want to, everybody in the truth movement has a job to do. Architects and engineers, we need those guys. You can believe in Judy Wood all you want, and Judy Wood has got her legitimate argument, is as fascinating as it is. It is too far out for the average person. The average person that we want to go, we want to wake up the sheeple, the so-called sheeple, and it's not their fault they're friggin' sheeple. If they were treated with respect, we would never be, sheeple. And anyway, there would be no sheeple because they would have been telling us the truth. They wouldn't have dumbed us down. Am I right? That's the truth, isn't it? It's not my friggin' opinion. Anyway, I worked out this plan on how to unite the truth movement and unite them, train them to be effective. The flaw that I see in the truth movement is that we're all a bunch of egomaniacs. Every single friggin' one of us. We all have a chip on our shoulder. We all think we're friggin', GQ, and we all think we're friggin' movie stars, and we all think we're cool. And what I learned in Germany, I went there when I was around the same age, 19 years old. I went to Germany. I worked out with those guys. Those guys kicked my butt. I grew up boxing. I grew up with karate. I grew up fighting and beating up bullies, and we formed our own gang, as a matter of fact, to beat up bullies. And we cleaned up our friggin' block. We had a gang on our block. We had shootouts on the friggin' roofs. We didn't give a crap, man. These guys, we didn't want them on our friggin' neighborhoods, Anyway, I'm not scared of crap. I'm not scared of anybody. I've met celebrities. I used to hang out with Calvin Klein. I danced with Elizabeth Taylor. Does that make me better than anybody else? No. It makes me where I was in a situation where, I could meet people like that. But was I intimidated by them? They were just people that went for their dreams. They had talent, and they just went for it. Isn't that what we're doing? That's exactly what we're doing. I know it's possible to crack this friggin' nut about, getting the truth out. I know it's friggin' possible. But we need to unbrainwash ourselves. We need to recognize that we're egomaniacs. Let me go back to Germany. I'm working out with those guys. I can't catch up. I feel like I'm going to throw up. They do I do 50 push-ups. They do 150. I can't compete with those guys. And then, and then we're having a beer, and they're talking to me about politics. I'm talking about my peers. I was 19 years old, right? And so they're talking about freaking politics. I'm like, politics, 19 years old? What the freak? They were into girls. They were into drinking beer and having fun and all of that stuff, but they were very mature. I was blown away. I'm talking about from 12-year-old kids to guys that were a couple of years older than me and everybody in between. I mean, these guys were men. They were men compared to me. I was like this pretend, friggin' New York, Brooklyn, American thinking he's hot crap. Well, those guys made me look like shit. And they weren't trying to, by the way. It's what I felt. It's what I felt because it was true. Anyway, and you know what the beautiful thing, what I learned? I came back a better American because they were so humble. They were the real movie stars. They were the real celebrities, and they weren't even trying. Those guys were the coolest friggin' people I've ever met in my friggin' life, and they didn't even know it. They weren't trying. They didn't, walk around with a strut and, they were just friggin' cool. And anyway, I came back a better American. I felt, I had a responsibility to become a good example of how to be a good American and how to be humble and how to be cool. I'm a cool guy, I guess, but I'm a humble guy. If I'm not afraid to say I'm sorry. I'm not afraid to say, I was wrong. I'm not afraid to say I don't know. That's how you know things. When you say you don't know something and people tell you, okay, this is what it is, that's when you start to get smart, Anyway, so now we go to the truth movement.
Time. I'm going to let you focus more on what your role in this organization is going to be, and just try to do it in about 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll give it my best. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry, but I wanted you guys to get a fuller picture that, this is the most important thing that we'll ever do in our lives. You already know what 9/11, the consequences are unbelievable. Every single friggin' day they're doing something sneaky behind our backs. And so now my role in this, with the group, with working with James and so on, is to instill, number one, discipline. We need to be disciplined. Sorry, guys. We need to grow up now. We were teenagers before. We need to be adults now. And now we're competing with monsters. We're competing with these guys that we're competing with, the governmental guys. They have PhDs. They got trillions of dollars. They're tapping our phones. They're listening to this freaking conversation. I mean, these guys are good. We're competing with those guys. How are you going to kick their butts? You're going to kick their butts with friggin' discipline. You're going to get rid of your friggin' ego. You must. Our lives depend on it. The future of this friggin' country, this future of the friggin' world depends on us getting our egos in check. Throw it out the friggin' window. Let's start getting humble. Let's start uniting. Let's start friggin' learning how to become better human beings and persisting. We must persist until we succeed. There's no wishing. There's no trying. All right. We're doers. We have to become doers. All right. So anyway, I came on board to help create that. I'm a nice guy. You know, I'm extremely patient. Like I said, I do the best I can to be an example of a leader. You know, so because we need to duplicate leadership here. This is what this is all about. Every single one of you is a potential leader. So we got to take that potential and we got to turn it around, make it into the real deal. And it takes a little time. But all you got to do is learn little tiny things. Number one, tell the truth. Do not be hypocritical, and that includes with yourself. If you can lie to yourself, forget it. You're not going to make it. And anyway, so we're going to have step-by-step, ways on how to become an effective leader, on how to, the first thing you got to do is we need profile pictures with your face. We need that human connection. A banner is not going to do it. Banners, you see them every freaking day, you ignore them. They're invisible. You need to stick out. You need to stick out like a sore thumb from the crowd. When you're talking about, when you're in some type of forum and you're talking about Tesla cars, which I'm into Teslas. I love that, electric, the technology of the future, etc. So, and I'm talking amongst these guys. I'm posting my comments, and guess what they see? They see my face there with 9/11 on it. They see I'm a normal friggin' guy talking about things that they're concerned about. If I go to another forum and we're talking about, chemtrails, they see me with my 9/11 T-shirt, my face, not a banner. They know who they're talking to. They know who they're interacting with, and I'm talking as competent as they are. So what we got to do is we got to make 9/11 truthers cool. We are cool, we are normal, and there's a whole bunch of us. But they'll never know that you're a truther unless they see your face and they see your profile pictures that says 9/11 on it. Because if you keep walking around being a truther and you got pictures of animals, and nobody's gonna friggin' know unless you are friends with a truther, and you talk shop with one another. So my job is to you want change, we're gonna have to change. It's as simple as that. You want a better world, you're gonna have to become better. That's the fact. That's the truth.